Okay, so I want you guys to do me a favor. I want you guys to think about your homegirl, coworker, whoever, and I want you guys to share with them right now. So I'm going to share with you guys some of the stories some of the issues that I experienced on my journey as an entrepreneur. And one of the reasons why I want to do so is because I know quite a few people that have just launched businesses. And one of them in particular, well, two of them actually, they're kind of shy. And sometimes it's like certain personality traits about yourself can get in the way of your business. It can get in the way of you making money, and it can literally get in the way of your growth as an individual, as a business owner, as a leader, so I figure I just jump on here and show you and just tell you guys some things that helped me along the way. Hi, everyone that just joined. Hi, Brittany. Hi, Cocaina. Hi, Sims. Okay, so one of the stories, you guys. So when I first started doing hair, this was like when Instagram was very, 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 very new, right? And of course, during that time, we had to pass out flyers in order to get clients. We had to pass out flyers. I got really, really heavy on Craigslist, like really heavy on Craigslist. But we had to pass out flyers. Like that's what we did at that time to be able to get clientele. And I will never forget, I was passing out flyers in McDonough, Georgia. And I was at, I don't know if it was a Kroger or a Fred's or some type of grocery store. I was at a grocery store. And it was me, my daughter, and my niece, and my boyfriend at the time. And we were passing out flyers. And I gave this young lady my flyer. Do you know, when I gave that girl my flyer, the heifer, my flyer, shall I say, this little heifer took my flyer and balled it up in my face. Balled the flyer up in my face that I already didn't have enough money to make in the first place. Balled the flyer up in my face. So it already took me so much to get up enough nerve to even pass out the flyers because I was so shy. I was so timid, you guys. Like, I was scared of walking up to people. I was so afraid to even just give somebody a flyer. Now, giving somebody a flyer doesn't take, you don't even got to open your mouth to do that. But I was so afraid of speaking to people and communicating with people. And I didn't want to get outside of my shell. But I was so afraid of speaking to people that I was afraid to even pass out a flyer that did not even require for me to open my mouth. But honey, when she balled up that flyer, something in me, I just wanted to just knock the hell out of this lady. I wanted to just knock the heck out of this lady, but do you know what I did? I kept passing out flyers. I kept passing out flyers. And I truly believe that had to happen to me at that time. Not 2 years later, not 5 years later, not 10 years later. That had to happen to me at that time when I was my most fragile, when I was the most shyest, when I was completely in my shell. It had to happen to me at that time because it made me realize it's not even that bad. Okay, she balled up the flyer and threw it away. Okay, it didn't kill me. I didn't die. So it's like, I know that we're in the world of social media and Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all that is needed to grow our business. But a lot of people don't even post simply because they're too shy to post. They don't make lives because they're too shy to make lives. They don't put things in their stories because they're just too afraid to come on camera or to post anything to show their face and let their audience know who they are, because they are so afraid and so shy. And I'm going to tell you right now, for those of you who are afraid of marketing, please understand that you are leaving money on the table. If you're afraid to show your face to your audience, if you are afraid to even make a post, which does not even require you to open your mouth, you are leaving money on the table. And unless you have a lot of marketing dollars where you can run ads and do a lot of non-organic, traffic boosting things that will get people to your website, you are going to leave money on the table. So you have to get out of your own way. You have to get out of your own way. You have to show up for your audience. You have to show up for your customer base. You have to allow the world to know that you exist. And if you don't open your mouth, if you don't post, if you don't do anything, nobody's going to know that you exist, and you're going to leave money on the table. Do you understand? So you have to keep that in mind when you're doing things. And I learned earlier on, like, if I don't open my mouth, I'm not going to eat. If I don't open my mouth, I'm not going to eat. I learned that earlier on. I quit my job. I had nobody to turn to. I didn't have no money. Okay? I didn't have any money. It was like sink or swim. It was sink or swim. And I had a little girl, okay, that I had to feed. I had a little girl that I had to pay for daycare for. I had a little girl who wanted to be in every activity under the sun, who didn't understand no. And I refused to tell her no, all because, and if you really think about it, right? Me not getting out of my own way, me not opening my mouth to speak to people so that I can build my clientele, me not wanting to market on social media, that is literally, essentially me having to go home and explain to my daughter why I cannot afford for her to go to the skating rink with her friends. Something as simple as that. So you got to get it in your mind. You got to get it in your head that is that deep. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't get out of your own way, and this is a certain amount of money that you need to be able to provide for your family and live a decent life, if you don't get out of your own way, you're literally going to be the cause of your child not needing something, all because you won't open your mouth, all because you won't market, all because you won't post, all because you're too lazy to get up and say, you know what, this is who I am, this is what I sell, this is what I offer, this is why you should buy it, come visit my website. You have to get out of your own way, okay? And I remember I had like a fear of just starting a conversation with somebody. I had a fear of just starting a conversation. Like, I used to have the mentality that, oh, if they're not speaking to me, then I'm not ever gonna know them. If they're not speaking to me, then we ain't gonna ever be friends. We ain't gonna ever talk. And I'm gonna tell you right now, like, your money is tied up into conversations with other people. Your money is tied up into conversations with other people. It's like networking is so important when it comes to business. It is extremely important because especially if you're trying to enter into a different market. If you're trying to enter into a different market and you come across somebody who's already in that market, don't you want to know that person? Don't you want to introduce yourself to that person? Because at the end of the day, that person has the information that you need. That other person has the information that you need. But if you don't want to open your mouth and send, now we're in social media time right now. If you don't want to open your mouth and send a DM or send an email or make a phone call, if you are too afraid, how can you expect to grow? how can you expect to grow? When you think about these network marketing companies, right? When you think about these network marketing companies are so massive and so successful. Why? Why? Because of relationships, because of communication, and because of networking and opening their mouths. Opening their mouths. You have to be able to get out of your own way and open your mouth. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys about, oh my goodness, I'm going to tell you guys about another story, right? So I will never forget, like, the point of this story is to get you guys to understand, no matter what, you still got to continue to do you, no matter what. All right. Continue to do you no matter what. So again, I built a lot of my clientele earlier on Craigslist and Pass Not Flyers when I first started doing hair. So I'm on Craigslist and I'm posting my stuff. You know, I do hair in Atlanta, blah, blah, blah. And so I did one of my clients and I put her on Craigslist. And then all of a sudden, I just get these phone calls and messages like some girl is on Craigslist stealing your work. So I'm like, okay, I didn't pay no attention. And so as days went on, I kept getting these phone calls and text messages that, hey, somebody's on Instagram, somebody's on Craigslist stealing your work. So the girl, one of the pictures that she stole was one of my clients. My client called me and said, Deja, remember that bob you did on me? And I'm like, yeah. The last one, I think she had like purple highlights. The last one, the purple highlights, she said, yeah. She said, this girl has that bob, a picture of me, on her Craigslist. And I'm like, let me just see. So I go to the girl Craigslist, and sure enough, there goes my client with that bob I did on her. So on the girl profile, she's like, I do bobs for this amount. Now keep in mind, she was doing it for like, I think it was like $19.99. Like all her prices was like $99.99. But it was like so stupid low. I do remember this. I will never forget it. The bob, quick weave bob, was $19.99. And it's like, if you looked at that bob, it's no way that the bob was $19.99. But she was doing this to lure people to her so that she can, of course, gain her clientele. So my crazy behind, I called the girl. I called the young lady and I'm like, hey, my name is Deja, and maybe it was an error, which we all know it wasn't. Maybe it was an error, but I see that you have a picture of mine on your Craigslist. Now, keep in mind, my watermark was on there and everything. Okay? Watermarked up and everything. Do you know this girl cursed me flat out? Cursed me flat out. Now, the client who picture it was, she called me and told me about it. So obviously, it's like, you know, you didn't do this lady here. She cursed me clean out. Like, it was no shame in her game. She was like, that's my work. It's on my page. It's my work. It's free. I can use it if I want to because it's free. It's on the internet. I said, how is it free for you to use on the internet and yours at the same time? I don't understand. When I tell you this girl cursed me clean out, she was like, I will beat you know what? You don't know me. I'm like, okay. How you mad? How are you mad? Like it's your stuff. Like somebody done stole your stuff. And what I learned from that is it is a very, very, very small world. Very small world. It's like, if you think about Instagram, right? Like, even though it's millions and millions of people on Instagram, it's still a very small world. And everybody know everybody. So If you are stealing other people's work, if you are stealing other people's content, somebody's going to find out. And another thing I learned is like, don't ever address it. Don't call the person. Don't DM the person. Don't tag the person. Don't be sending any subliminal messages. People know. If people follow you and people follow other people, it's like, even though people may not put it under your comments, they may not put it under their comments, but people know when your stuff is being stolen, and they know who originally created that content, or who created that style. And then if you're posting somebody else's work and they have their watermark on there, it's like, come on now. I don't even need to say anything about that. It's like, people are going to know. So my thing is, you have to realize what's for you is for you. And it's nothing that anybody can say or do to take your craft and your work of art away from you. You're going to have people that are going to steal your content. You're going to have people that are going to steal your work. Pictures of your client that you did with your watermark on the picture, and they will still steal it and they will still post it. And guess what? You are still going to grow. You're still going to grow. And one thing that made it so important for me to share that story is because I get so many people saying like, well, I want to do this, but I'm scared somebody's going to steal it. I want to do that, but I'm scared somebody will steal my idea. Or I want to post this, but I don't know if people are going to, like, I'm just scared somebody will take it. Look, if they do, let them. Let them. Because one thing I have learned for people that have taken anything off of my page or stolen any of my work, one thing that I have learned is that all you're going to do is bring more attention to my page. Because they're going to try, somebody's going to put something under the comments, and everybody's going to go see who did they steal this stuff from. I want to see the person who originally did it. Who did they steal the stuff from? So like I said, no, nothing can be taken away from you. What's for you is for you. God is not going to say, okay, well, I know you did it. I know you originally did it, but this person stole it. So let me just give those blessings to this person. That's not how it works. Sorry. That's not how it works. And then if you really think about it, think about anything that you put out there, any content, any idea or anything. If somebody has copied that means that person lacks creativity on their own, and they're only going to be as good as your last idea. If you're not coming up with your own content and you're copying off of somebody else, you're only going to be as good as that person's last content. So whatever idea that you have, whatever product you want to put out, anything that you want to do, don't not do it because you're afraid somebody else is going to do it first or somebody else is going to copy off of you. That means you're letting other people control your narrative. You're letting other people control your success. That means they have control over whatever you drop next. Oh, I want to do you know how many times, like I've had, friends and associates tell me that they want to do a photo shoot, but they don't want to drop it yet because they're scared somebody will steal it. So you're going to not do it at all. So you're going to not do it at all because you're afraid somebody else will steal it. Now, when somebody beat you to the gun, because great minds think alike. So when somebody actually do it, somebody else out in the world, that has this great mind, if somebody out there does it, then you're going to say, oh man, I should have did it. But now you second. Because remember, you didn't want to do it because you were afraid that somebody was going to steal your work or steal your idea. What's for you is for you. Whoever steals your work, whoever steals your content is only as good as your last content. That's it. There will always be number two. So whatever product you want to put out, whatever new service that you want to start doing, whatever book you want to write, okay, whatever class you want to do, whatever new technique that you want to do it. Do it. Don't not do it because you're afraid somebody else is going to copy you. Do it. You will be the best at what you do. Period. Just do it. Here's my last story for you guys, because yeah, I know y'all heard my husband calling me. Okay, so my last story for you guys, and this is significant for me because, you know, there are times on your journey, there are times where you experience things on your journey and it becomes like that one thing, and it happens throughout the course of your life. It happens throughout the course of your journey as an entrepreneur or in your life, period. And a light bulb goes off and you're like, you know what? I'm not going through this again. I will never forget, you know, I was working, of course, for the bank at the time, and I was working third shift. And I didn't have anybody to watch my daughter. Her father wouldn't watch her. He was running the streets. My family wouldn't watch her. It's like I didn't have anybody to watch my daughter so that I can go to work. Here's my alarm. I didn't have anybody to watch my daughter so that I can go to work. So I had to send my daughter to a 24-hour daycare. And when I tell you that daycare was expensive as hell, but mommy had to work. So I will never forget, I picked up my daughter. I just got off of work early, and it was just something in my spirit that said, pop up on this caregiver. So I got off work early. It was like 2-something in the morning, and I got off early and I picked up my daughter, and her pamper, she was so very young at the time. Her pamper was so pissy. Oh my gosh. Excuse my language. Her pamper was so sour, okay? It had not been changed at all. At all. And if you're a mom, you know, when you drop your child off at daycare or to somebody else's house or in the care of somebody, you know, who you trust with your child, you do a pamper count. So you count how many Pampers are in there to make sure that they are not giving another child your Pampers, or to make sure that they are changing your child's Pampers on time. When I tell you guys, I picked up my daughter and her pamper was so sour. So sour. And all I can remember is me telling my boss, I cannot work these hours, man. I have a young baby. Like, I cannot work these hours. And she was like, well, pretty much you either go work these hours or your ass ain't gonna have no job. And so all I could think, like, you know what, I have to, like, who's going to help me with my daughter? Who's going to take care of me and my child? Who's going to pay my bills? I have to. So I picked my daughter and her pamper was so sour. The feeling that I had as a mother, I will never forget that day. And when I tell you, it was like a light bulb went off in my mind. And it was like, I can never experience this again. I can never have somebody tell me, if you don't work these hours, you will not have a job today. I cannot experience this again and put my daughter in to me, that's an unsafe situation. Even though she wasn't left alone, even though she was fed, still, to me, that's an unsafe situation. So it's like, it clicked in my mind that whenever you are not financially stable, whenever you are in a position where you don't have no control over your life, whenever you are in a position where you have to depend on other people, you are signing yourself up for some bullshit. You are signing yourself up for a life you do not want. I don't care what you convince yourself. I don't care what you tell yourself. If you are in a position where you are depending upon other people, if you are in a situation where you have no control over your finances, You experience things that you do not have to endure, all because you need the money. All because you need the money. So I promised myself I would not be in this situation. I took my daughter out of daycare. I figured something out. And I promised myself I have to get out of this situation. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I cannot depend on somebody else to watch my child. I cannot depend on this job to be secure and to understand that I have a young child that I need to be home with at 2:00 in the morning. I cannot depend on these little coins that they are paying me. I cannot depend on this bullshit ass schedule that they are giving me. And it's like, exactly, we have to break the cycle. If I was in a better financial situation, I would have never had to experience that. I remember I was telling somebody about the time where I sat at a bus stop. And when I tell you guys, I don't know, I think I was like either 25 or 50 cents short. And I sat at a bus stop with my daughter. She was practically a newborn. She was a newborn. I think she had to go to her 6 weeks checkup or 8 weeks checkup. I sat at a bus stop and I was 25 to 50 cents short, hoping and praying that the bus driver would let me on. Why was I in that situation? I was, number one, the father that I picked, but that's another story. But why was I in that situation? I was in that situation because of my finances. So it's like you really have to promise yourself, be real with yourself, number one, because a lot of us out here are living in la la land. You have to be honest with yourself about your situation. Some of us are in really messed up, shitty situations, but we don't want to be honest with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Some of us are in relationships that are crappy relationships. You know this person ain't going nowhere. You know this person ain't doing nothing with their life, but we don't want to admit it to ourselves. We are there for comfort. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, we don't want to be honest with ourselves and say, I got to get myself out of this situation. I cannot be here. I am worth more than this. My life is not supposed to be where it is right now. If you're not honest with yourself, you continue to live in that space. When I tell you guys, so many things in my life could have been avoided if I would have taken control over my life sooner. So many things could have been avoided in my life if I had taken over or taken advantage of my gift sooner. So many things in my life could have been avoided if I would have decided to step away from my 9 to 5 sooner. But I was in la la land. I was in denial. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that things were normal. I thought that this is something that everybody goes through. No, that ain't something that everybody go through. Everybody don't be sitting at the bus stop 25 to 50 cents short and can't afford to get on. Everybody ain't picking up their child at 2:00 in the morning with a PP diaper at a 24-hour daycare. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you have to understand that your everyday decisions are made up of your choices. You have to get yourself in a better situation. The situation that you're in, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, oh my gosh. This wasn't supposed to be a part of the live, but I'm going to tell you guys about this one. I remember living paycheck to paycheck, and every time I would get paid, I would have no more money left, right? And I would have some more days left in the week that I still needed to go to work. I still needed to feed my daughter. I still needed to, make sure that her daycare is paid. Like, I was literally living paycheck to paycheck. And this was when keep in mind, now this is when I was making like $18, $19 an hour. Okay. Because what happens is, and see, people don't realize this. Okay. If you're making $15 an hour, what's your next goal? Your next goal is to, okay, well, I want to make $18 an hour. So when you start making $18 an hour, you're going to start living like you're making $18 an hour. So that's why I have this thing now: never live above your means, 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 ever, ever. I never live above my means. Again, ever. And I remember just living paycheck to paycheck, paycheck to paycheck. And I would never forget the feeling of not having enough money to go to church. Not having enough money to put in a gas tank and drive to church. I can even put a tank of gas in there, a gallon of gas to drive to church, because I was living paycheck to paycheck. Keeping up with the Joneses is a no-no. You're absolutely right. Living paycheck to paycheck. And it was like, that's not how I was raised. That's not what my mother and my father taught me. But, when we get out in this world, we start, seeing nice, shiny things and wanted to live like this and live like that. But it was like, this ain't a good feeling. So if you got to remember that feeling of being broke. You got to remember that feeling, because sometimes, we get our money, we spend our money, and then we do it all over again because we don't remember that feeling. You got to remember that feeling of being broke. And you got to say, I don't like this feeling. I don't want to feel like this every 2 weeks, every month. You have to remember that feeling, and I will never forget that feeling. I tell you, when I walked away from my corporate job, that was the best thing I could have ever done in my life, because I bought my first home when I was 23 years old. Okay, so I had this new car, I had a nice job for a person at that age at the time, had a new house, I was living great. And all of a sudden I decided I want to quit my job. Oh, child, you used to have a shopping addiction. Me too. But anyway, I had all these nice things. My closet was full of clothes, shoes. Oh my goodness. And all of a sudden, I wanted to quit my job. Well, when you quit your job, you ain't gonna have no money because you ain't getting paid. So when I tell you that was the best thing I could have ever done, because when I did that, I learned discipline. I learned discipline. I was more financially stable then than I was when I had my job, because I was able to create discipline in my life. And what I learned is that discipline will take you so far. Discipline, even if you lack the funds, discipline will take you further than somebody with a pocket full of money that's not disciplined. I'm going to say it again. Discipline will take you further with no money. Discipline will take you further with no money than a person who's not disciplined but has a pocket full of money. Once I learned discipline in my life, man, I was able to oh my gosh, I was able to do so many different things for investing, businesses. Like, I was able to do so many things because I was able to gain discipline. So you got to understand, like, when things happen in your life, you can't just soak in them. You have to learn from them. You have to literally learn from them. You can't soak in them. You can't act like you're a victim and say, you know what, this happened to my life and my life is so effed up because of this. My life is so effed up because, my child's father wasn't there. And, I didn't grow up in a 2-family household. And, I have 3 kids and by 3 different dudes. And my life is messed up because of this. No. Because if you tell me your life situation and you're not doing well and you're making up all these excuses, I can show you somebody else in your same situation who's doing great. Your same situation who's doing exceptionally well. All because they stopped with the excuses and they gained discipline. They stopped with the excuses and they gained discipline. So, moral of the story is, of course, you guys know that I have a class coming up, the Pumps and Pink Slips webinar. And that's geared towards how to walk away from your 9-to-5 and quit your own job. Understand this. You can have anything you want out of life. You can have financial freedom. You can have family. You know what I'm saying? You can have peace. You can have wealth, health, whatever you can have whatever it is that you want out of life. But the key that connects the dot to all these things that you want out of life is discipline. And if you don't have that, don't expect anything. Somebody told me the other day, they was telling me, what they want their 2020 to look like. Excuse me. Somebody was telling me what they want their 2022 to look like. Did I just say 2020? Oh, child, that's why I don't do drugs. But anyway, somebody was telling me what they wanted their 2020 to look like. They said, I want a new house, and I want to become a millionaire. I'm like, okay, you want a new house, you want to become a millionaire. What did you do in January? What did you do in February? What did you do in March? The first quarter of this year you might as well just say that's over. You might as well just say it's gone. Matter of fact, you might as well say March is over. We're in April right now. That's how I look at it. So if the first quarter of this year is already gone and you haven't done anything, then 9 times out of 10, you're going to go into second quarter not doing anything. And if you got to start in the third quarter, you got to play catch up because you didn't do nothing in the first. You didn't do nothing in the second. Now you got to play catch up. So now you're overworking yourself, overstressing yourself, trying to get all this stuff done so that you can become a millionaire and get this new house next year. With no discipline, I might add. No discipline. So you got to understand, like, everything that you want, everything that you're trying to do, like your goals and everything is tied into your discipline. It's tied into your discipline. The moment I figured that out, that's what happened for me. That's what happened for me in my business. The moment I figured that out, it's discipline. When I knew I wanted to start my own product line, I knew I had to have business because it costs so much money. I knew I had to have discipline. If I didn't, it wouldn't be here today. If I didn't have enough discipline after I quit my job to start my business, I wouldn't be a hairstylist right now. I wouldn't even talk to y'all right now. I would not even be talking to y'all right now. I would not have built up enough clientele, built up enough audience, I wouldn't even be talking to y'all right now. You have to have discipline. So whatever you want out of life, get out of your own way. If you're shy, remember the stories that we talked about earlier. If you're shy, you got to get it out your head. You have to kill the person that you used to be and create a whole new person for yourself. That's the person that you need to make you successful. All that shy stuff, all that timid, I don't want to post because I don't want to, reveal myself. I don't want to let everybody know in my business, and I don't want to bump all that. You leave money on the table. Bump all that. You know what I'm saying? Get out of your own way. Learn how to speak to people. Learn how to network with people. Learn how to communicate with people. Get out of your own way. We are in 2022. We are in 2021. This is the new world right now that we're in. You have to communicate. You have to market. You have to be personable. You have to do these things. Get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. So let me read some of you guys' comments. Oh, the moment I walked a mile to see if my boyfriend was cheating at 6 a.m., I was like, never again. And I started working on a business plan the next morning. You know what? Shouts out to her. Kiss this _24. Shouts out to her. Like, the best thing you can do. Before I met my husband, I was with this guy, man. It was like, why am I even with you? I don't even know. Ooh, child, that's another story. But the best way to get over a person is to put all that energy into yourself. Ooh, they won't even recognize you. Once you get to going, once you get a little taste of success, you're going to be like, why was I even with this person? The best thing you can do after a breakup, heartache, relationship, whatever, is to put all of that energy into you. You'll become a completely different person. I'm telling you right now, you'll become a completely different person. Like, let me see, school just really draining and make me unmotivated, but I still push it just so I can. Okay, so are you in hair school? Are you in hair school? Yeah, so if school is draining, like, you have to keep that end goal in mind, because nobody likes school. I mean, I love to learn. I absolutely love to read. This is the book that I'm reading right now, the 10X Rule. But what else am I reading? Yeah, I got so many books, it's insane. But yeah, so if you're in school, and I don't care if you're in hair school, nail school, makeup, esthetician, business school, it don't matter, law school, it doesn't matter. If you're in school and you're tired of school, you have to remember the end goal. You have to remember the end goal, because at the end of the day, like, you're probably in school so that you can change your situation. You're probably in school to increase your finances. So you have to remember the end goal. And if you give up, that means you are saying, okay, I like my old situation. Let me go back to it. If you give up, you're saying that you like your old situation. You like the current situation that you're in that's suitable enough for you. So most people hate school, but you got to remember the end goal. You got to remember the end goal and keep going. Because at the end of the day, like, nobody's going to do the work for you. Nobody's going to want it more than you, for you. You got to want it for yourself. You have to push yourself, and you have to understand that it's just semantics, but you still have to go through it. You still have to do it. All right. So I thank you guys for watching. If you have not already registered, go ahead and register tonight for the Pumps and Pink Slips webinar on how to walk away from your 9-to-5 to start your own business. Again, make sure you guys stay motivated. Make sure you stay disciplined. Get out of your own way. Make sure you are networking and communicating and pushing yourself to the top, to where you need to be. I wish you guys much love and success. I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.